पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं वादरायणं सूत्रभाष्य कृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Open the book. The verse number is 16. I chant and just follow me. मेधावी पुरुषो विद्वान् ऊहापोह विचक्षण अधिकारी आत्मविद्यायाम् उक्त लक्षण लक्षितः. I repeat again. Just follow. मेधावी पुरुषो विद्वान् ऊहापोह विचक्षण अधिकारी आत्मविद्यायाम् उक्त लक्षण लक्षितः. So this the verse. The meaning is Medhavi Purusho Vidwan, one who is brilliant and can argue for the scriptures and refute arguments against them, is fit for receiving Tattvabodha, self-knowledge, Atmagyan. I translate it a different way. An intelligent and learned person skilled in arguing in favor of scriptures and refuting counter arguments against them, one who has got the above characteristics is a fit for self-knowledge, knowledge of Atman. Last verse we have studied a disciple duly approached a great master. Then Shankaracharya here introducing some intellectual qualities for students. These qualities are very important. The quality will make students first understanding the philosophy of the Vedanta. These qualities are intellectual. The capacity to understand Vedanta. Actually, this is the power of the mental. Power we can use both ways. We can use it positive way. We can use it negative way also. And both ways are required here. We have so many times heard about sadhana chatushtay, fourfold qualifications of Vedanta. But I think this is a rare thing we are going to hear in this verse, the meaning of the Vedanta. Shankaracharya here says, Medhavi Purusha Vidva. Actually, what happened in ancient time, the great master used to live two different ways. Some of them did not interested to teach. They kept quiet. They used to live within himself. So they kept quiet like Jadbharat. In Bhagavatam, there is a character, Jadbharat. He knew everything. He was realized, but he did not speak. Only one time in whole life he spoke. Otherwise, he was always quiet. So there were so many masters. They were always quiet. They did not speak. They didn't have any interest to speak. If the person is like this, they do not require these facilities, these qualifications. If they have, it's okay. If you don't have, then also okay. But there were so many masters who, after realization also, they continued their teachings. They wanted that which knowledge they have, which happiness they achieved, which happiness they tasted, they wanted to share it. So that is why they continuously, their teaching was going on. If the master is to communicate with others, then he must require these qualifications. If master wants to communicate his experience, the master wants to give something to others also, then he requires these qualifications. If he doesn't want to communicate, he is satisfied with himself, then these qualities not required. So these qualities are optional. Now, what is the meaning of Medhavi? Medhavi Purusha Vidwan. Take one by one. Medhavi is a very typical word in Sanskrit. No exact meaning, no exact translation. I can say that quick responder who can reply immediately. To explain this word, Medhavi, I give an example. Actually, there is no direct meaning. So I try somehow to make you understand this word's meaning. In Delhi, there was a king. He had a big team of ministers. Some was for defense, for treasury, different departments, different functions. And there was a minister who did not have any portfolio, but he was the best minister. Every department he can take a decision, and his decision was last. So once the king and the minister was sitting together, and king asked to his minister, the king said, "Oh minister, Can you tell me how many crows crows are Delhi's residents? Very silly question. Very silly question. He asked, how many crows are Delhi's residents? Can you tell me? He said yes. Immediately, quickly, he replied, 3,45,678. King was stunned, surprised. How can a person can say so accurate? 68, even 68, not approximately, 100% accurate. Lakhs, thousands, hundred, accurate. So king was surprised and asked, how do you know? He said, this is my method. This is my method in secret. That is why I'm great. I'm the best. Whatever number I have given to you, you can check it. So king said, if there are more, he said, yes, there may be. If there are more, they are not deities. They came from outside. If there are less, then some deities cross went outside. But residents of the Delhi cross are the accurate number is so. The answer may be wrong or right. It does not matter. Answer may be wrong. Answer may be wrong or right. It makes no difference. So this quality called Medhavi, immediately, without delay. And I think this quality is God gift. You can sharpen by study. You can sharpen it by practicing. But it is a God gift. So this is a Medhavi. Immediately, quick response. Medhavi. Then comes Vidwan. Medhavi, Vidwan. So Medhavi is a quality by God gift. So pray to the gods who give you the quality of Medha. Medha means intellect. Medhavi means who has intellect. So everyone has intellect. But Medhavi means very special intellect. The next one is Vidwan. Medhavi, Vidwan, Purusha. Now it comes Vidwan. Vidwan is what? Vidwan is who has studied with learned person in a college, in a university, under a system, who has studied everything, every philosophy. And by effort, he learned everything. In this context, we can say he's a master of grammar, dictionary, who knows grammar, who knows dictionary, shabd, kavya, poems. He knows everything. But this is not God gift. He did it by effort. He learned all things under a system. Medhavi, Vidwan. So Vidwan means a person who learned everything from a university system up under some college, university. Vishwamedhavi. Then comes the very difficult word is Uha Poha Vichakshana. Uha Poha Vichakshana means one who is capable to argue for the scriptures and refute arguments of them against them. Uha Poha, there is two words. Uha and Apoha. Apoha means refute. He can refute. And Poha means who can establish. So Uha Poha means who has capacity to establish the principle of scripture, who can give the logic for establish the scripture, and who can refute against the scriptures. So these qualities are very useful for yourself also. If you have these qualities, you will be very clear mind. Very clear mind. No one can confuse you. So, in this context, the meaning is who is the master of logic and Mimamsa, and even Vedic rituals, Mimamsa. So, in this, the full meaning is Padavakya Pramana Para Varina. Who is the master in logic, who is the master in Mimamsa, who is the logic in grammar. Every scriptures who know, that is who are the Vidwan. And Uha Po Vichakshana. Medhavi Purusha Vidwan, Uha Po Vichakshana. So Shankaracharya says, having these qualities, one is the qualified to enter in the realm of spirituality. Only the person can enter in this realm who has these capacities, these qualities. Now next one. Number 17. Vivekchino viraktasya samadhi gunashalinah mumuksurev brahma jigyasa yogyatamataha. I repeat. Vivekchino viraktasya samadhi gunashalinah mumuksurev brahma jigyasa yogyatamataha. The meaning is, he alone is considered qualified to inquire after the supreme reality, who has discrimination, detachment, quality of calmness, etc., and burning desire for liberation. I repeat the translation in different way. The verse is Vivekino Viraktasya Samadhi Gunashalina Mumukshu Revahi Brahma Jigyasa Yogyatamata. The meaning is a man of discrimination between the real and unreal, whose mind is turned away from the unreal, who possesses calmness and the allied virtue, and is longing for liberation, is alone considered qualified for inquire after Brahman. In the last verse, we studied the qualifications of seeker. Those qualifications are not compulsory. If you have, then okay. If you don't have, then don't worry. It is not compulsion. But these meanings, qualifications are compulsion. Every sadhak, every seeker, these qualities they have to have. There is no option. विवेकिनो विरक्तस्य समाधि गुणशालिना. Now take one by one. Here is a compulsion. First is Vivekina. Vivek means discrimination. The word discrimination now is being abusing very much. Discrimination means we understand that discrimination means between the nation. Discrimination means between gender, color, race. So each word become very hateful. But here in Sanskrit the word is Vivek. Vivek means there are two things in mix and you have to separate them. You have to separate them. So all universe is dialectical. All universe is dialectical always. It appears in one, but it is not one. It is a dialectical. Here a mixture. So you have to try separate every time. What is true? What is not? In daily basis life, everyone use this faculty. Not even human being, but animals also. They are also using. Animals also using this faculty. What is good for them? What is not good for them? Who is friend? Who is enemy? What should eat? What should not? Animals also, even birds also, they are also using the same faculty. We are also using. What should we do? What should not do? Who is friend? Who is not friend? So every time, without this faculty, we cannot move a single step. So this faculty is regularly working in our life. But here, Shankaracharya is not talking about this level. He is talking more higher level. This is a common thing. There is no difference between you and animal. In this level, there is no difference between you, animals, birds. Even trees also, they are also using this faculty. Today, scientists also say that the plants also understand who is friend, who is enemy. We are saying always that. But today, science also discovered that the plants can understand, the trees can understand who is their friend, who is their enemy. So this faculty is working everywhere. But Shankaracharya not talking about in this level. He is talking higher than this level. Discrimination power, you have to use what is real, what is unreal. This is the Vivek. Separate them. Separate them in intellectual level. You have to understand this is truth, this is not truth. And its result would be Vivekino Viraktasya. Its result would be the person who has discriminating power, automatically he becomes detachment. Detachment automatically will come. You do something. Vivekino Viraktasya, automatically detachment will come. Now understand detachment. Detachment means when we understand that this is truth, this is not truth, then we do not hate, do not attract. We do nothing. If there is nothing, there is unreal. In unreal objects, you cannot hate, you cannot love. Our love, our hate is only for real. If this object is not real, then you cannot love, you cannot hate. Then automatically detachment will come. At Vivekino Viraktasya Samadhi Gunashalina. Then comes number 3, Shat Sampatti. 6 kind virtue, Samadhi, beginning with Sam. And 4th one is Mumukshu. The burning desire of liberation. The burning desire of liberation. It's very important. The desire, if we have desire, then we can find any way. If we have desire, then we can make any arrangement to achieve. If we have desire, we can find out. We can go to moon. We can go to sea, deep sea. We can fly. We can do anything if we have desire. So most important thing is desire. Here, Shankaracharya wrote, desire, mumukshutvam, burning desire. Desire always follows you. The desire always follows you. I want liberation. I want liberation. I want liberation. At any cost, I want liberation. So this desire is the mumukshutvam. Shankaracharya says, then Brahma Jigyasa Yogita. So when one has 4 these qualifications, he is eligible for self-realization. Now, next one, number 18. साधनान्यत्र चत्वारि कथितानि मनीषिभिः येषु सत्सु सन्निष्ठा यद्भावेन सिद्ध्यति. I repeat, साधनान्यत्र चत्वारि कथितानि मनीषिभिः येषु सत्सु एव सन्निष्ठा यद्भावेन सिद्ध्यति. The translation is, great sages have spoken for 4 qualifications for attainment, which are, when present, succeed in realization of Brahman, and in the absence of which the goal is not attained. I repeat, regarding this, sages have spoken of 4 means of attainment, which alone being present, the devotion to Brahman succeeds, and in the absence of which is not possible. As we discussed last verse, there are two types qualifications. One is optional, the second is compulsory. So these four qualities are compulsory for every student, every seeker of truth. So these are like when we travel any country, we must have proper documents. Then we are qualified. We want to enter somewhere, we want to enter any country, we have a proper passport, valid visa, other documents. Then we are qualified. Otherwise not. So qualification is a must. Enter in this region, enter to the Brahman, enter to the self-realization realm. There are must. Must means four kinds. Shankaracharya says, this is not I am saying, because Chudamani is written by Shankaracharya. Sadhana Nyatra Chatvari Kathitani Manishivi. Manishivi, so many sages have spoken. I'm just following. Manishivi. So this is traditionally, I'm not imposing anything. I'm not imposing. Kathitani Manishivi. Manishivi means learned person, scholar, a sage, self-realized person who has achieved, who has attained self-realization. They said, Manishivi, Katitani Manishivi. So these Manishi, these sages have spoken about four qualifications. And he said, Esu satseva sad nishta yad bhavena siddhati. If these qualifications are in a sadhak and a seeker, then he can enter in this realm. If he don't have, then you can read, you can memorize, you can chant, you can understand, you can teach even, you can take as a professional. But the realization will not come. You can use it as a profession. In universities, colleges, there are so big scholars. They know every scripture. They can chant. They can teach. But they don't have, if they don't have these four qualifications, then they will not understand the essence of scriptures. They will not enter in this realm. They will walk outside. They will walk outside. But entry is not permitted to them. So these qualities are the must. Satsu, Esu Satsu Sannishta Yada Bhavena Siddhati. In Sanskrit, here word is written Eva. Eva means only. If someone has these qualities, then only he is adhikari, he is capable, he is eligible, he can enter. Otherwise, you can chant, you can recite, you can teach, you can learn, but you cannot enter. Satsu sannishta bhavena siddhati. So that is why these four qualifications are must for a seeker, a truth seeker, a spiritual seeker. So next one, number 19. आदौ नित्यानित्य वस्तु विवेका परिगण्यते इह मूत्र फल भोग विराग तदनंतरम. I repeat, ये आदौ नित्यानित्य वस्तु विवेका परिगण्यते इह मूत्र फल भोग विराग तदनंतरम समाधि षटक संपत्ति मुमुक्षुत्वम इति स्फुटम. The meaning is, while we start counting the qualifications, first we count the ability of discriminate between real and unreal. Next comes spirit of detachment from enjoyment of fruits of actions here and hereafter. Then comes that is the group of 6 virtues beginning with calmness, and the last of is intense desire of liberation. I repeat the translation again. First is discrimination between real and unreal. Next comes aversion to the enjoyment of fruits, one's action, here and hereafter. Next, the group of 6 attributes with calmness, and the rest of last is clearly the yearning of liberation. Adau nitya nitya viveka. Here is sequence. How to proceed. Here is the sequence. The number one is viveka. Is a condition. First step. Scriptures are so clear. They don't want to confuse anybody. They give you responsibility. You take your responsibility. You take your responsibility. Open your eyes. The scriptures are not making confused. They say, open your eyes and just see what is in front of you. God has given eyes to you. Use it. God gave you intellect. Why do you not use it? Use it. So all is the universe is in front of you. And just apply your intellect. Adau nitya vastu viveka pariganyate. The first meaning is, first qualification is discrimination, vivek. Everything is in front of you. Now the power of discriminating is higher. You are not thinking about food, about house. You are not thinking about any disease, any relation. Now you are focusing reality and unreality. Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka. When we understand that this is our shadow, you know, you and your shadow. Your shadow is always with you. Your shadow will not remain without you. But your understanding says that you are not your shadow. So sometimes when it's the morning time or evening time, your shadow becomes long. Your shadow becomes so long. And your shadow goes in a way, elements are passing. You are watching. There are passing so many elephants over your shadow. You are laughing. You are enjoying. You are not afraid. I am going to hurt because these elephants are passing over me. You know, this I am, and that's my shadow. Shadow is untruth. I am the truth. Shadow is unreality. I am the reality. So you can enjoy. Your shadow can go in Ganges. It takes bath. But you understand, it will not give you virtue. Your shadow is falling in the Ganges water. It will not give you a punya karma, a virtue, a merit. Because, and sometimes it may fall in gutter. You are enjoying. Because you know this is me and this is my shadow. I am truth, this is untruth. When you realize Nitya Anitya Vastu Viveka Adau Pariganyate, in the first thing Shankaracharya says is discrimination power. This is me, this is truth, this is untruth. Then comes the Viragaha, detachment. So after discrimination, when your discrimination going to culminate, its peak, then comes automatically detachment will come. Automatically. You have not to do anything. If you realize this is untruth, then detachment automatically comes. Ya mutra phala bhoga viraga tadanantaram. Tadanantaram means after that. What happened? Detachment. So please understand what is a detachment. Vairagya. Vairagya does not mean you hate any object. Now we love object. Now we love the object. And we understand that after detachment, we will start hating the object. Shankaracharya says no. Now you love objects because you know objects are true. After the discrimination, you understand they have no reality. Then the attachment, the love, and with hatred, all will go. You cannot love unreal things. You cannot hate unreality. You cannot hate your shadow. You cannot love your reflection. Your reflection is in mirror. Do you love or do you hate? You do not love, you do not hate. Your reflection is in the mirror. You are doing nothing, no hate, no love. Because you know this is unreal. So now we understand that this is a real. When the reality is in our mind, then we start loving or hating. Hate and love both comes from truth. When you see the reflection in the mirror, you know in the reflection is in the mirror is not truth, then you cannot love, you cannot hate. Both are the useless, meaningless. So Shankaracharya says, Iha mutra phala bhoga viraga tadanantaram. Here and hereafter in the heaven. A very difficult task. Somehow we can manage here. We are in greedy state. Some will say, you do charity and when you will go to heaven, you will get in return so much. Then we give. Because we know in heaven we will get more. Here, Shankaracharya says, the detachment is here and hereafter in heaven. I have to understand that not only here objects are unreal, even heaven objects are unreal. Iha mutra phala bhoga viraga tadanantaram. Then comes Satadi, Samadhi, Sataka Sampatti. Third one is six-fold virtue, Shamdam, etc. And the last one is Mumukshuttam. Mumukshuttam means desire or liberation. A desire, burning desire, always is follow like a ghost. You cannot take a rest. You cannot sleep. The desire of liberation, it should be so intense. Always, 24 hours. It follows like a ghost. You cannot sleep. I want liberation. I want liberation. I want liberation. At any cost. At any how. I want liberation. So this willingness, this desire called mumukshutvam, moksha. Now last one, number 20. Brahma satyam jagan mithya ittevam rupo vinasya soyam nitya nitya vastu viveka samudahirata. I repeat. Brahma satyam jagan mithya ittevam rupo vinasya soyam nitya nitya vastu viveka samudahirata. The meaning is the firm conviction that Brahman alone is real and the phenomenal world is unreal is known as discrimination between real and unreal. I repeat the translation again. Brahma satyam jagan mithya ittevam rupo vinasya. A firm conviction of the mind to the effect of Brahman is real, the universe is unreal, is designated as the discrimination between the real and unreal is Viveka. Now, Shankaracharya has started to explain what Viveka is. What discrimination power is. What is discrimination? Now he started. He started Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Ittevam Rupo Vinashya. We studied that Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha. In verse number 19, we have studied Adau Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha. So now Shankaracharya explains what is Nitya Nitya Vastu. What is Nitya Anitya? Nitya, truth, Anitya, untruth, permanent, impermanent. Now he explains his quote, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. Now start thinking about first about universe, about phenomenon. Whatever you see, you think is it truth? And go deep. Is it truth? Then you realize it appears like truth. It appears like truth, but they are not truth. They are dependent on others. They are not self-sufficient. So their reality is not absolute. Sometimes they are, sometimes they not. So they demand time. They depend on time. They depend on space. They are not absolute. When you start to thinking, you will realize that there is nothing permanent. Then thought will arise. If there is not any permanent, then is there zero? Everything is unreal. Everything is untruth. There is no truth. Then mind will think. Is everything untruth? Then is there any reality or not? Then Shankaracharya says, Brahma Satyam. Then you start thinking about yourself. Who is denying? Who is rejecting? Who is thinking? Thinker is there. Objects are not real. But who is denying? Who is rejecting? Who is thinking? Thinker is there. The Western philosopher, I told you, was Descartes. His principle is doubtism. Everything is doubtable. You can doubt everywhere. Everywhere. So his philosophy is doubtism. But one thing is not doubtable, you. Because you are doubting, that is why you are there. Brahma Satyam, you are truth. You are the truth, other is untruth. Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, Ittevam Rupo Vinasya, Soyam Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka Udayarta. This is the discrimination, Shankaracharya says, this is the discrimination with Vivek. Not the daily discrimination. Here Vivek means Shankaracharya specify Brahman and objective word. You decide this is the unreal and this is the real. So today we will take rest here. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Eshamam Vadarayanam Utprabhashya Kitau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururasmiti Veda Vibhagine व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम शांति शांति शांति।
शांति